I want to go ahead and get right to your questions. I'm sure you've got one, Rima.
I can start it. Just what was the difference in the match with Old Dominion at the neutral court and at their place? What was
Well,
the difference?
yeah, there were a couple things. One, we gave away too many possessions. I put on the board after the game. I put three or four things up there, and there were 4 or 5 possessions in each category. There were some loose balls that we didn't get to toward the end of the first half that cost us a couple possessions. Uh, we got too deep on penetration a handful of times. There were 4 or 5 of those where we ended up turning the basketball over when we could have created a pretty good opportunity for a teammate. Uh, our transition defense, even though it's improved, our communication wasn't good enough on a couple of opportunities, and they got open threes, and they made 2 of them. And then we took 4 or 5 tougher, you know, difficult shots, contested shots when there was still plenty of time on the shot clock. And so you get 4 or 5 of those in 4 different categories. All of a sudden, you're up to 16 to 18 possessions, and that's too many to give away against an Old Dominion team. They've got a good team. They've got a couple of older guys that are very good. Their point guard's one of the better point guards in the country, and we simply gave them too many opportunities, and so we've got to cut those down. They made a good adjustment to. They worked hard to find some things, find some better offensive possessions, get some things in the lane with some of their guards, and not settle for as many long jump shots. So a good adjustment on their part. We had a couple of things that we felt like worked for us that we didn't do in the first game. So when we went back and looked at it, Gary, it was and it felt that way right after the game. I was able to go up to the board and I put them on the board right after, and that's too many possessions, to give up. And so we've got to work hard to see if we can't cut that down from, 17 or 18. You cut that down, you cut it in half, and you give yourself another 8 or 9 possessions, and you take away a couple of scoring opportunities for them, and you put a couple on the board for yourself, and all of a sudden you've got a 7, 8, 9 point swing. And so not overly complicated. We did some good things on the trip. We did some good things in the second game against Old Dominion. I loved the way we started. We're up 14-7 after being there for 3 days, and as a coach, you wonder how the guy's going to respond being on the road that long. We jump out 14-7. Trey did a terrific job of getting us started, and then we had a group that answered the bell when we were down when we got down 11-12 there at the 9-minute mark. We had a group on the floor that got us back to a 1 possession. So the guys prepared themselves well. We fought pretty hard. Simply made too many mistakes and gave away too many possessions. That's too hard against a good team at their place.
Challenging this upcoming week when you look at kind of the contrast in offenses that you're going to see with Merrill, a really proficient three-point shooter, and then Dom and what he does inside for South Dakota State.
Yeah, and in both cases, Utah State's got another perimeter player that can really shoot it. Between Merrill and the other guard, I believe they've made 28 of their 3-point shots, and that's a large percentage of the 3-point shots they've made to date. And then they've got a very good freshman inside, and they're bringing some guys off the bench at Utah State that are very good players. So Merrill is averaging 22 points a game. He's got 25 assists and 10 turnovers. He's a terrific player. But they've got some other guys in the starting lineup, and then they've got 3 or 4 guys coming off their bench that are do a great job in transition, a great job on the offensive glass. So they put a lot of pressure on you with the guys that they bring in off their bench. And South Dakota State has got a very experienced team. Dom is he's one of the top 15 players in the country. But they've got a guard named David Jenkins that is off to a great. He had a big-time freshman year a year ago, and is off to a terrific start again here as a sophomore. So Dom he's one of the best going in the entire country. But Jenkins has already proven himself to be very, very good. And the rest of their team at South Dakota State, the guys that are playing their minutes, are experienced players. And so we're going to see two very good teams this week.
What would you say about Austin and Ty's health?